Good morning, everyone. As Stella mentioned, after the break today, we're going to have a scientific look at the marvelous world of Point Lobos marine algae. But right now, we're going to have an artistic look. And who better to do that than Cecilia Placzek.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Rick. Thank you for letting me bring some of my photographs here this morning. Also, a big thank you to Pauline Troya for your support and your inspiration. And thank you, Paul Reps, for getting my pictures into that machine and onto the wall. Thank you, all of you. I told my young son, well, he's not so young, Alex, that I was going to bring some of my seaweed pictures this morning to share with you, and he said, "Oh, Mom, no. Don't take those. Take the polar bear ones and the one of the walrus. They're much better." And then he went on to say, "Mom, you know what? Those pictures don't even look like seaweed." So I said, "You know, Alex, my intention is to give an artistic expression to the subject of seaweed. Not unlike a painter with his paintbrush, I use my camera as my tool. A writer uses his pen as his tool. The message I want to bring to the world is the fragile beauty of our earth." I got interested in seaweed really when I became a docent, and I walked the trails like all of you along the edge of the ocean. And I looked down into those coves that are filled with seaweed, seaweed moving back and forth like dancers and clothed in tones of yellows and greens and reds and browns. It hypnotizes me. I've stood many, many hours on the bluff overlooking, well, the bluff just between Weston and Bird Island. There's a nice bluff, and you can look right down into the water. And there you see beds of kelp moving back and forth. So I made many, many images of that, looking from 20 to 30 feet. And all of a sudden I thought, I want to get down there and touch it. I want to feel it. I want to know it. I want to smell it. So Mary Conway told me when the next minus tide would be. And the good ones are in the springtime because they're in the morning when the sun hasn't quite risen. So I pull on my boots, I strap on my knee pads, I grab my tripod, I put on my camera, and I make my way down to the little cove just south of Weston Beach. And as I step down these maybe 6 or 8 steps onto the pebbled beach, I really feel like I'm in a sacred place. I walk towards the far wall, the conglomerate. Well, I say that because it's really rough and hard and a great place for the purple iridescent seaweed to hang. And in the springtime, it's beautiful. And I walk closer to it. And as I get closer, I look down, and in the water, there's rainbows of colors swishing back and forth. And I move closer. I move closer to the seaweed on the wall, and I watch the light that's bouncing off those rocks behind me onto the seaweed. And I stand mesmerized. I can smell it, and I can touch it then. I touch it with my eyes, and I look at it through the lens of my camera, and I say, "Oh my God, you're beautiful." And images come to me, and often images of faces. And it's as if I'm having a conversation with this thing called seaweed. And all of a sudden I hear another voice saying, "Hey, I'm over here." And I look, oh my God, there's another face. And I have to check, "You're beautiful too." So I invite you all to join me, tumble down the rabbit hole into a magical world of seaweed.
Thank you, Celia. Yeah, there's no one that's helped me more see the beauties of Point Lobos than Celia.